Chronicles TV on air. We are now live in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of the Great Ace Attorney of Chronicles. In the previous episode, we completed part 1 of the trial. Today's episode right now, we're going to go into another summation examination. If you have today's episode, make sure that like button, subscribe to the channel. I have considered the defense counsel's request for a further summation examination for the jury. And I have determined that the court must uphold the defense judicial right to the procedure. So, counsel, you will now proceed with your second summation examination. I presume the jury is ready for Mr. Foreman?
We are, my lord.
Very good. In that case, I must ask each of you now to state clearly and consistently of the court the grounds on which you find the defendant guilty of the crime. Alright, we're back here again, boys. To be honest, the summation examination is actually quite fun. Quite unique.
The accused left behind evidence at the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his?
If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to the crime if the window was closed, can it? Dearie me, it was only a little book, hardly life-threatening even with a direct hit.
Look, I just want to get this over with. If I don't bring home some pay tonight, I'll be in tiny bit of trouble.
Come to think of it, we had a fire at home a while ago and gave me a sneezes.
Yes, considerably more, wrong voice,
more tangible arguments from all members of the jury at this time around, it seems. With one notable exception, of course. My learned student friend was unable to find a fault in the previous witness testimony. So the court must accept the fact that it was indeed the accused seen fleeing from the scene. And moreover, I knew he was gonna do that. No one else even at the scene to commit the crime. Well, if the eyewitnesses are correct, it would seem as if the conclusion is somewhat set in stone. I fail to see how it can be argued in any other way.
That means I'm afraid that during the summation examination, it's essential that you establish some other tangible explanation for the facts. But how? What could he consider a tangible explanation here?
Isn't it obvious? Who stabbed the woman and how? Those 2 details are all you need to provide. Simply give us a name and a method by which the attack was conducted.
And there I was thinking this might be hard. Mr. Naruhoda, you have to do it. Otherwise, this really will be where the trial ends.
No pressure then. That's quite enough preamble. Proceed with the summation examination, please. I presume you are prepared, counsel? Oh, yes, my lord. Alright, Rinosuke, focus your mind now. Clearly, the key to summation examination is going to be the juror number 4, the maid, or should I say Miss Gareb.
We have a book that disappeared from the Garib's house on the evening on the night of the incident, and the 4th book found in the victim's hand. There must be a way to link the 2. Yes, that's what we have to find. Using every technique I've learned in a short career so far, whatever it takes. Don't forget to keep an eye on Miss Garib's and how she reacts, even to things other people say.
Here we go again. The defense rebuttal. The accused left behind evidence in the scene, didn't he? Those 3 books of his. If there is some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might consider. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to the crime if the window was closed, can it?
Hold it!
But what about the possibility that the window was opened?
What about it? I mean, there's just no way it could have been.
How can you be so sure?
But the prosecutor fellow over there said it earlier, didn't he? Winters in London are no joke. You don't want to invite this sort of cold indoors. Oh no, that window wasn't open. Us Londoners like sitting by the fire and staying warm, see?
Well, you couldn't categorically state that the window wasn't open, could you?
It just wasn't. They wouldn't have opened it.
Then what's the point of even having windows, huh? Counsel, you will kindly refrain from childish bickering.
Of course, sorry? Somehow I need to show there's an undeniable possibility that the window was open. Because this young man isn't going to budge otherwise.
I'll deal with you later. Wait, I'm not. Oh my god, out of habit. Out of habit. As well, or she could have done it. Yes, but once again, the jurors' statements are full of personal prejudice. A lot of them seem convinced they're right, even if they face logical arguments. I think you're going to need to pit them against. Yeah, I know. We just need to fast forward this. Just a connection might do the trick. Alright, let's see what I can do. If anything sends out, I'll go for a strike. We'll put the young man and the old man together how I originally planned. How I originally planned it in the first one. Press L. Please, thank you. Does that have anything to do with your decision about defense capability in the case? Hurry, what's that? You'll have to speak up, lad. Could you tell us more about the fire? It was last winter. My grandchildren baked me a lovely cake on my birthday. It had 75 candles on the top. It did. What a sight to behold it was. You put candles on a cake? Was it some kind of devil worship? Of course not. It was an angel cake. To celebrate my birthday, obviously. It seems it's a common custom here in Great Britain, Naruhodo. Anyway, I mustered all my puffs to blow them out. Only I must have blown wrong somehow. The flames didn't go out, but candles went flying all over the room. The furniture caught and everything went up. The whole place filled with smoke. Definitely sounds like devil worship to me. And by the sneezes, I presume you mean a cold? But how did you catch a cold from a fire? What a fiasco it was. The grandchildren, blessed them, threw water over me as they tried to put out the flames. And then, because the whole room had filled up with smoke, of course, we had to open up all the windows to clear it. The windows. The biting winter air rushed over me like the devil dancing on my grave. It did. I caught a terrible cold from it. It put me in the hospital for a while. I won't forget that birthday in a hurry. I knew it. It was a devil worship all along. Something about the old man story is playing in my mind for some reason. The devil's worship. Let's go. Okay, let's try my original plan from A1 Day 1. Let me do this. Alright, let's try it. Even if the woman was throwing books, it can't be related to this crime if the window was closed, can it? Okay. Dear me, it was only a little book. Hard life running even with a direct hit. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. If not, I could be wrong. Because his statement is about the window. His is how he wants to open the window.
Objection!
These two jurors' statements clearly contradict one another. They do? How exactly, counsel?
Don't point at me again. I told you it wasn't me.
Huh? What's that? You say? Speak up, lad. Speak up.
Juror number 3. Do you see? Oh, me? See what's up? Oh, I see. Nice.
Did you hear juror number 6's account of his birthday celebration last year?
It seems, despite being a Londoner, he once opened his window in the middle of winter. Yes, of course. But it was an emergency. I mean, obviously, if the juror was filled with smoke from fire, then you'd be mad not to open the fire. Oh! Exactly. On the day in question, the time of the incident, there was a fire in Garib household. And Mr. Garrett had the following to say about it. The whole place filled with smoke.
Oh my.
Oh, my hat! Aha!
Excuse me.
Juror number 4, do you have something to say about that? Miss Garib. Oh, dearie me. What is the meaning of this? How dare you imply that I'm hiding who I really am? It's imperative that you confirm something for the court. So please, it's time to drop the pretense now. What is it? When the fire started in your house that day, did you or your husband open the window? What? I beg your pardon. What are you insinuating? The room would have been thick with smoke after the carpet and bookcase caught fire as they did. In a situation like that, it's inconceivable that you wouldn't have opened the window. And what if we did?
Common sense.
All right then, yes, you're right. My husband was frantically trying to open the window, which can't have been easy since I continue to give him a justified, deserved book battering.
Even though your house was on fire.
Oh, you never stop throwing until the anger subsides. It would be terribly bad for the nervous to do otherwise. Oh, of course. I should have realized. That's a significant step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. You mean you've managed to establish the window was open. We simply must have that added to Miss Garrett's formal statement.
But we didn't change a thing about these guys.
Oh well.
But if anything, we'll go back and pin them against each other.
Hold it!
The fourth book found at the scene of the crime shows very obvious signs of damage. And the title of the book is The Lion's Pride. The same title, in fact, as the book that Mr. Garrett told us he had been reading.
Well, I really couldn't say.
On the day in question, did you or did you not throw out your husband the copy of The Lion's Pride that he had been reading?
I did. It was the first thing I could lay my hands on, so I hurled it straight at him. And now you come to mention it, yes. He was rather enjoy reading it, you're right.
Then why did you not reveal this important information to court from the outset?
Because I couldn't. You insolent little man, I didn't remember. At times like that, you pick up and throw whatever you can lay your hands on, as you well know. I really don't. I barely noticed I was throwing a book, much less the title of it.
Excuse me!
What is that, juror number 5? You know something? I remember what it was. The memory I blocked out. Huh? It was listening to what this granny was saying brought it all floating back. Ooh. Ow.
Who are you calling a granny, you cheeky devil? I'm Miss Garrett of the maid, I'll have you know.
The man doesn't even flinch. Please tell me that's not because he's used to it being hit all the time. It was about 2 weeks ago now. I just got back home after work. I put my hand in my pocket for the wages I just earned in the day, and I nearly died. There was a hole. Every last penny had been dropped.
Oh dear, what a disaster.
You haven't heard half of it, boy.
Oh?
The wife was cutting up some chicken at the time. I could hardly get the words out, but I told her straight, I've lost a day's wages, love. Next thing I knew, the blade was whistling past my ears, stuck in the wall next to me, and it did. About an inch deep.
No words, just terror.
I could smell it then, you know, the god-awful stench of the Thames. I was sure I was going to end up face down in the muddy banks that night, I can tell you. Now, that's a real disaster, isn't it?
I'll never use the word lightly again.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. When women lose their rag, they'll throw anything at you. Knives, hatchet, hammers, you name it.
Mr. Naruto, you mustn't think that all women are so short-tempered and unrefined. No, I wasn't thinking that. Throwing household objects at people is, well, it's so uncivilized. At least attack with honor, using a bow or the like. What? Attack? Who are you going to attack? Never mind. Anyway, this man's words could be rather significant, I think.
Alright, we'll come back to the bow and arrow thing later, if I dare. A woman in rage will hurl almost anything at you.
Hold it!
Your wife really threw a kitchen knife at you? That's right, she was chopping meat with it. I had a tidy edge on it, believe me. Still, it's all memories, isn't it? It started with the smile she threw me when we were courting, and since then, the list of things she's thrown at me has grown along with our relationship. There was a cup, then a glass, then a pot, a kettle, a chair, a wardrobe, a cooker, a bed. Your wife must be beefier than you. And things came to a head last week when she threw me right into the Thames. Still, she's not so bad when she's calmed down. She's a little sweetheart, really. I'm so happy for you. If you want to know what I think this whole idea of ladies first that we're so obsessed with in this country was thought up by some clever lads who've been tossed in the Thames a few too many times by their wives. That's a very interesting theory.
What a terrible thought.
On the face of it, this juror statement just sounds like a really extreme antidote. But I think it might turn out to be an extremely powerful weapon. A weapon I might be able to use to make the jurors accept all alternative explanations here. To throw everything? If there was some novel alternative explanation about how the victim was stabbed, I might reconsider. Let's see what they have to say. But as we know now, there were 4 books, not 3.
Well, what difference does it make?
There's every possibility that the 4th book, in fact, belongs to the defendant's landlord.
Yes, that's the part I have the problem with.
Sorry?
Well, at the point the woman was stabbed, this landlord fellow was at home, wasn't he? Enjoying a fiery scrape from his wife or something you said.
That's not exactly how I put it, no.
Well, anyway, the point is the fellow and his wife were somewhere else when it happened.
I think that's what you call a strong alibi.
So it could have been the landlord who did it, which only leaves the Nipponese fellow. Honestly, I can't see what all these palaver's about. It's done deal, isn't it?
Are we talking about... I suppose it is, since I have nothing witty left to say.
Hold it!
So, you might be willing to change your decision, you mean?
Oh my, such a delight on your face, but I'm afraid I shan't be swayed by emotion. Despite what you may think of me, I am very modern, metropolitan, and a rational woman.
That's great.
If one reads the morning papers, it's all forgotten by tea time, isn't it? So why read them in the first place? You see, modern, metropolitan, and rational thinking, wouldn't you say?
And not at all extreme.
As I see it, an overwhelming suspicious Japanese man has been implicated by overwhelming strong testimony. But despite 1 or 2 minor puzzlements, I do declare the man is overwhelmingly guilty. Modern, metropolitan, and rational logic, wouldn't you say? Overwhelmingly! But us modern gals are always delighted to embrace new fads, you know? So I'd be only so happy to consider an exciting new theory if you come up with one.
I'd be happy to delight that too, if only I could. Yo, I want to see... I'm glad you omitted a rationale there. Yo, I want to see... They didn't even finish their freaking thing. Because it just stops and we added more clues, but I want to see what happens when we continue with our theory. So let's see... Wait, we can't... Oh, never mind.
Objection! Hold it!
I'm sorry, but as foreman of the jury, I have to object. That's complete nonsense. What? I'm a banker, don't forget, an educated man, and there's no contradiction as far as I can see. Yo, we can't redo what they did? Yo! So, we can't redo what they do? The window could have been opened with a woman was throwing books. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. At the point when the victim was attacked on the Briar Road, we know there was a small house fire in the garret also on the opposite side of the street. Well, yes, it certainly seems that way. On the account of the smoke, I imagine they would have been windows all wide open despite the cold. We also know that Miss Garrett was throwing flaming books at her husband. Her husband, who was backed in the corner by the window due to his wife's frenzied attack. Yes. You alright? So there's definitely a chance that one of the books could have flown past the man out the window. Only what? Only I can't really see how it could have gone all the way over to the other side of the road. That's all. So I don't really see how I can change my decision, really. So he needs something to declare. Alright, I see what you mean. This guy and Beef Boy.
Objection! Hold it!
Oh, come on! Back it up. So who... Okay, my next guess. We pit the big guy and the modern lady. Let's see. Put him.
Objection!
There you go.
Those two statements clearly have a deeply significant connection.
Good grief, you mean they don't contradict each other? Explain, counsel, at once.
Juror number 2, do you think perhaps that this could be one such novel alternative? Oh my, what do you mean? An alternative explanation as to how the victim was stabbed in the back.
What are you talking?
Oh. We demonstrated that the fourth book, The Lion's Pride, that was found at the scene of the crime, originated from Mr. Garrett's room on the top floor of the house. Therefore, it's equally possible that some other object besides the book could have found its way from the Garrett household to the street below.
What's that now?
After all, Miss Garrett could have thrown any number of different objects at her husband. Isn't that right, juror number 4? What are you insinuating now, you little beanpole? I'm beginning to think that ever since the true origins of the book came to light, perhaps she had a feeling this might be what happened.
Now listen here, you Eastern Gala. As the foreman of the injury, I demand a straight answer. You give us the yarn about some other object making its way to the house. But what? What was it?
I'm really taking a big gamble here, but that was a bold accusation to make, but I haven't any real evidence to back it up. But I'm certainly that at the very least, the warrants further investigation. Alright, Mr. Foreman, I'll try to explain the defense theory. The other object that found its way from the Garrett household on the scene of the crime was...
Take that!
Juror number 4, Miss Garrett. What? What now? I must apologize in advance for this, but I need you to confirm something else for the court. This knife. Have you ever seen this knife before?
Ah! Good lord, counsel, what are you doing? That's the weapon that was lodged in the victim's back, man.
Remember, you're under oath, good faith.
My lord, remember that when the victim was attacked, Miss and Mr. Garrett were in the throes of an argument.
Miss Garrett was hurling anything she could at her husband, who had been backed up against the window. A window that had been opened to clear up the smoke, and through which a book sailed to land at the crime scene.
You can't seriously believe that the book was found in the victim's grasp.
Are you saying that it flew out of the window and across the street to land neatly in her hand?
Ha! Even my missus hasn't got a name like that.
Yes, I admit there are many details we don't have yet understand, but that's the point. That's just precisely why we must not allow this trial to end. Not right now. Oh my. Miss Garrett, your answer, please. Have you seen this knife before or not? Oh,
So it is. Whoa. My lord.
I wish to change my decision. I'm a woman of my word after all.
Thank you, madam. Yes, I agree. I certainly didn't see this coming, but I just don't think it would be right for this trial to come to an end now with so unanswered questions.
Mr. Foreman.
I have to agree. Not that I think that Granny didn't mind.
Yes, you know what? I'm not quite happy about this at the moment either.
All together now, ladies and gents.
Yeah. We did it. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo.
So, as a result of the defense summation examination, a number of jurors leading have changed. 2 jurors called guilty against 4 now calling innocent. Accordingly, the opinion of this court is divided. And this trial will continue. Objection? Now then, Lord Von Zykes, how does the prosecution wish to proceed? This trial is rapidly descending into a farce. Like a cork wine, the first few sips are bitter enough. But what follows is so repugnant, it's good for nothing saves the gutter. If I may, Lord Von Zykes, the defense has just put forward a credible alternative explanation for what happened. Credible? Is that your considered opinion, Mr. Foreman? The defense argument is a joke to which I barely know how to respond, but let me start by assisting. I don't know why I stumbled. That you must all familiarize yourselves better with the relative positions of those places being discussed. What do you mean by that? What's his angle this time? It should already be more than apparent that between the crime scene and the Garrett household runs a rather wide street, Briarwood. Which means that the distance from the Garrett's house to the scene is some, yes, 15 yards?
Let me see. 15 yards. Around 14 meters.
14 meters? That's a little farther than I imagined. And as you ladies and gentlemen of the jury rightly noted as having portentous significance, the fourth book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, the smoldering book, wantonly hurled by the lady of the house, traveled some 15 yards, so landed on the opposite side roll neatly between the collapsed victim's fingers and thumb. Is that your final conclusion, my learned and deluded friend? And did the jackknife follow a near identical trajectory to plunge into the middle of the victim's back? This fantasy is somewhat stretching the notion of having a bad day for the victim, I think. Even those pathetic serialized detective stories must have been believable plots.
Okay, how about this? She got hit by the book and faded down. She got hit by the book, she fainted, and then the knife just made its way and stabbed her in the back, because there was no blood whatsoever. Ugh. How much you want to bet it's that? That's what happened. She got hit by the book, she's unconscious, and the knife is just there for no reason. That prosecutor loves the sound of his own voice. Mr. Sato, serialized detective stories are pathetic, aren't they? How dare he? Maybe let's pick our battles here. My lord, might I be able to allow to speak?
As a judicial assistant, you may speak to the defense, yes, go ahead.
The prosecution may consider the idea a fantasy, but what the defense has postulated was believable enough to persuade the jury to change its leaning. And as such, the court has duty to explore this alternative explanation as thoroughly as possible. To that end, the jury number 4, Ms. Joan Garrett, must be called to testify and submit the cross-examination.
Saints alive! A cross-examination of a juror? Order! Well, this is highly irregular. It is unprecedented for a member of the jury to be summoned as a witness just then. And unnecessary. Lord Von Zykes! There are already witnesses in the stand whose testimony the defense may further cross-examine. If my learned friend's partial theory has any truth in it, then both a burning book and a jackknife must have flown through the sky before the couple's eyes.
And we must assume they would be able to
testify accordingly. What say you, witness?
Yes, sir. Constable Roy Beat, reporting for duty, sir.
Well, good morning, officer.
Sorry for dozing up until now, sir. I haven't slept for a month on account of a villain who's appeared on my beat, sir. Oh, they are so heroic, these London bobbies. Patricia, my darling, I've been neglecting you, but no more. Oh, really, my hero, you make me swoon.
Very well, I hereby reject the defense request. And order the witnesses in the stand to testify again. State forthwith before the court any details pertaining to the events, alternative explanation of events.
Yes, sir.
And with that, we'll end the episode right here. Like, comment, subscribe. Chronicles 69. I'm signing out.